347. And if you are asked about the slanderers and their machinations, then say that it is worthless to do anything against them before authority or jurisdiction, because it only brings harm and hatred and desires for revenge, as well as the loss of goods and chattels and wealth, because the authority and jurisdiction demand payment for their administration of justice. Leave the slanderers to be slanderers within themselves and outwardly, and do not create any hatred or undertake any revenge and retaliation against them, because staying silent and amusing oneself at their slanders, calumnies, is its own medicine, whereas the slanderers create harm and trouble in themselves through their evil deeds and will soon become tired of them because they do not achieve any success and only provide pleasure and benefit for the slandered ones. 348. Do not make the truth an obstacle for yourself through oaths, so that you do not refrain and grow apart from doing good and rightful deeds as well as being honest and promoting peace amongst yourselves. Do not take any oath, because your word of honesty shall be enough. That this is yes, yes or no, no. Therefore do not swear any oath either on the world nor on a belief or God or to God, because you will not be able to prove the truthfulness of your word by them if it is doubted. And if it turns out that your oath was false although you assumed it was of rightness but you were mistaken, then you will be unknowingly guilty of a lie or calumny, slander, and will therefore commit harm to another, and you will be brought to reckoning for your false avow, perjury. And if you speak a word of witness and avowal, then act with forethought. If you are fighting on your own behalf, then do not fight with falsehood, but in honesty, and be forbearing and forgiving against those against whom you are fighting. 349. Always be alert about the truth, and do not cower down in submissiveness before people of your kind, human beings, therefore not before authority or jurisdiction either, before no enemy, and in no belief in a god or in gods, because you shall not be subservient. Be indeed obedient when obedience is rightful, but do not be subservient, and do not deny yourselves. Esteem and appreciate yourselves in true freedom, so that you will not be subservient to any people of your kind, human beings, or to any gods and tin gods. 350. If you are anxious or afraid, then gird yourselves with courage by freeing yourselves from anxiety or fear through contemplation, meditation, and putting yourselves deeply meditatingly into good and free thoughts and feelings. When you are in safety, however, then think about the teaching of truth, the teaching of spirit, the teaching of life as the prophets have taught you and as you have received it from them. 351. You have heard from the proclaimers, the prophets, that you shall select a wise head, wise leader, for your guidance and instruction, so that you may live in love and peace as well as in freedom and balanced harmony, and in wisdom, and may spend your entire present existence in this way. And you shall not take up arms and fight against one another or against other tribes and peoples. If you are, however, attacked by a battle troop, war troop/military, with armed Gewalt, so that you are driven out or beaten down into servitude, bondage, or imprisoned, then fight against it with Gewalt zum Gewaltlosigkeit. If the possibility of Gewalt zum Gewaltlosigkeit is taken away from you, however, then conduct a battle in consequentiality logic, by means of which solely rationality decides whether a defense in extremis self-defense may be justified. Therefore you do not kill, murder. In degeneracy, however, you shall not let yourselves be stirred up, be agitated, to battles with weapons, neither in the family nor amongst groups, nor by following authority or leaders and rulers, and not by following priests and other worshippers of gods and tin gods. Only ever use the Gewalt of weapons to fight if you are attacked with the same, but when doing so always ensure that you are fighting rightfully and are only bringing about the death of the opponent in extremis when there is no other possibility of defending yourselves, so that you do not kill, murder, and do not become malefactors, lawbreakers, to the life of those who bring you enmity. Therefore you shall defend yourselves only rightfully and not load guilt upon your life through any outrage. 352. And it is taught to you that you shall only select wise heads, wise leaders, for your guidance who do not impose mastery over you, because you are not worthy of dominance mastery over you, but instead a wise and kind-hearted guidance and freedom, peace, love and in concord harmony. Never elect avowed rulers over you, whether they may be people of your kind fellow human beings, or gods or tin gods, because no such ruler is worthy of leading you and instructing you in the teaching of truth, the teaching of spirit, the teaching of life. Truly, you yourselves elect your wise heads, wise leaders, so that you are led rightly by them and you can increase your knowledge and your wisdom as you are gracious towards people of your kind fellow human beings. 353. The sign evidence of a mastery is that you are given unfreedom and you are exploited and placed under the yoke, made dependent and enchained, whether it be by a female or male head of the family, matriarch or patriarch, a belief in a divinity or in a tin god, and by their priests, by breed givers and wage givers, or by authority, by despots and other tyrants. Pay attention to these words if you are knowing and you do not want yourselves to be beaten into servitude bondage, because the horror ruler and the martinet as well as the Goblet ruler and other despots are many in a variety of attitudes, type, behavior. Mastery is at all times a sign evidence for you that there is a threat of infreedom, lovelessness, peace and dissonance, disharmony. 354. Now, those who drink out of the river of untruth are deepening themselves and in bondage to the lie, but those who drink from the wellspring of truth promise to lead their present existence in righteousness, conscientiousness, and equitableness, fairness, and the righteous conscientious people, and the equitable ones, fair ones / responsible ones. And all those who are knowing in the truth have great power against all attacks by the unknowing and inequitable ones and fair ones / irresponsible ones, because they know with certainty that they will lead a joyful and a good life through the truth. And therefore those who are knowing in the truth as a small group will achieve victory over all large groups of the inequitable ones and fair ones / irresponsible ones, and the unknowing ones in the peaceful struggle for the real truth, because the prosperousness of the truth is on the side of the stalwarts. 355. And when the knowing ones of the truth advance and encounter the hordes of those without equitableness, unfair ones / irresponsible ones, and those who are knowing of the truth, then they pour out their steadfastness over the unknowing ones and the ones without equitableness, unfair ones / irresponsible ones, reinforce their stands and strive to bring the teaching of truth, the teaching of spirit, the teaching of life against the gaping unknownness and inequity and fairness of the people. 356. And those who are knowing in the truth do not put the unknowing ones and the ones without equitableness or responsible ones / unfair ones to flight with the teaching of truth, the teaching of spirit, the teaching of life. Because if these do not want to hear the truth, then the ones who are knowing in the truth do the same as the prophets and continue to teach undaunted, by means of which the truth will become evident to the unknowing ones and those who are without equitableness or responsible ones / unfair ones, at a time sooner or later. Therefore the teaching of truth is given and taught to them so that they may recognize it as true at a time sooner or later, and turn to it. And if it were the case that the prophets held themselves back in the explanation of their teaching, then you would also be held back in your learning. But so that it does not happen that one holds back another, you have been given free will, so you may decide for yourselves what you want to do or not do. And if this were not the case, then earth would be filled with great disorder, and there would not be any greatness of heart amongst you and the peoples, if you get along peacefully with one another. 357. These are the recommendations that are brought by the prophets and that proclaim the truth, and indeed, the explanation of signs, evidence, of recommendations, are based in wisdom,